asked you what you are doing here, and you'd better come up with an answer fast before I call the police. Think you know what'll happen to your license if I do that?
Since when you decide you needed a gun to protect yourself?
I don't want you to ask me any questions until you have answered some of mine. But then I think I can probably piece it all together on my own. Sure, I ran into you a few minutes ago in the lobby of the Springfield Towers with the Chamberlains. And Henry overheard me say I was going to spend the next 2 hours there going over the plans for the banquet. So he told you, and you decided this was the perfect time for you to break in here and snoop around.
Maybe you should have been the private detective, huh?
I have a good mind to call the police right now.
Oh, I don't think you better do that, Diane. Unless you're prepared to open that briefcase and show them the tapes that you stole out of my apartment.
You're crazy.
Oh, I know you well enough to know you would never destroy those tapes you sent me to Puerto Rico to get from Mike Bauer. So I know they got the proof on him to send your beloved Alan to prison. Yeah. And I also know that you convinced Alan that you couldn't wait for those tapes to get back so that you could destroy them. You better think about this, lady, because...
I don't need any advice from you. I want you out of here. And if you ever come near me or this apartment again, I will see to it that your license is revoked and that you are sent to jail.
Oh, I don't think you better do that either, lady. Because if you do, then I'll tell the police that you sent me to Puerto Rico to get those tapes from Mike, and that Alan sent me to Zurich to track down that ex-pilot of his.
Those are the emptiest threats I have ever heard in my life. There's nothing on paper to link Alan or me to you. It would be your word against ours. And I happen to know the reputation that you have with the local police. That's why I hired you in the first place, Joe. Oh, the authorities would just love to get one more piece of evidence on you so that they could take your license away, put you away in jail for a few months for safekeeping. Now get up! And put that briefcase back in the closet. Lock the closet door and leave the key in the lock and then go. Do as you're told and do it fast!
Mike, I can't believe that Diane would hire Joe Bradley to break into my room at the club and steal that letter from Rita along with her address and phone number.
Why do you find that so difficult to believe?
Because Diane didn't know anything about Rita.
What makes you so sure?
Because if she had, she would have thrown it up in my face. She was always taking messages from Rita on the telephone here.
I think Diane would have a way of knowing almost anything she wants to find out. And the fact that she's hired a guy like Joe Bradley shows she doesn't mind keeping company with rather dubious types. I think it's possible that maybe she suspected that there was another woman and hired Joe Bradley to go to your room and find out who it was.
The idea that Diane would do something like that is absolutely mind-boggling. You know, it suddenly occurred to me that now Joe Bradley, of all the people in the world, knows about me and Rita, too. I find that a very disturbing thought.
I told you that I don't think it's right for you to trust Diane so completely.
You may be right. You know, Hope felt very strongly last night that Diane was purposely wearing that necklace to see how Hope would react to it. And she said that when she asked her questions about it, her answers were filled with innuendo. If I find out that Diane actually hired Joe Bradley to break into my room at the club and that she planted doubts in Hope's mind about me and our relationship, I'll kill her. Just hope that she has proof that I'm wrong. Yes, Laurie. Can you give me some idea of what Diane's schedule is for the rest of the day?
I told you to leave the key in the lock. That's better. Now get out. Oh, Miss Hardwick, listen, there's nothing to be alarmed about, really. Nothing to be upset about. This is Mr. Bradley. He is a private detective. He was just showing me how to protect myself in case someone ever breaks in here, you know.
Of course. I've seen Mr. Bradley several times leaving your apartment. I was just concerned when I saw the door standing open. I remember the other night how frightened I was when I saw that man crouched in front of your door.
I know. You see, that's when I went out and bought and licensed this gun. Did it the very next day. But I don't really know how to use a gun, so that's why I asked Joe to give me a few pointers.
Well, I hope you don't think I'm just a nosy neighbor. I was worried is all.
No. I understand perfectly. Really, I appreciate your concern.
I'm just glad to see that Diane has such caring neighbors.
Well, we single girls can't be too careful these days.
Right.
It's nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, too. Well, I'd like to see you force me out of here now, after that lovely explanation you gave your neighbor lady.
You just stay away from me.
I know you've got guts, Diane, but I don't think you've got what it takes to pull that trigger. I think I'm going to put you to the final test. And if I win, I get to see what's in that briefcase. Because I know damn well it's those tapes with Alan and Dr. Moreno's voices on it.
You had better just stay where you are. Because if you lose, it is all over. I'll simply tell Miss Hardwick there was a terrible accident while you were giving me a few pointers. I mean it! Stay away from me!
And now, the award-winning Guiding Light. This portion is presented by Bounce. It gets clothes soft, free of static cling, and gives them long-lasting freshness. And by Zest, the deodorant bar that leaves no sticky soap film so you feel really clean.
If you take one more step, I'll pull the trigger. I mean it!
If you knew anything about private detective work, you'd know I'd never leave a gun loaded in that drawer and search this apartment. That's much better, huh? How do you think? It's funny how the table turns, huh? How'd you think?
According to Laurie, Diane checked in a little while ago and said that she would be at the banquet manager's office at the Springfield Towers discussing final arrangements for the banquet tonight. It would take her at least a couple of hours. So I'll try calling her at her apartment later. If she's there, I'll go over and face her with this.
Alan, don't you think you were overreacting a little bit and threatening to kill Diane?
Perhaps I was, but it was simply said in the heat of anger. I only know this. If she's been deceiving me in those areas, then it's very possible that she's been deceiving me here, too, because I've given her a great deal of power while I was away.
I think you ought to keep your eye on those areas, too.
Tell me, you talked to Alan in the last couple hours?
It's none of your business.
Well, I would just love to be around when Alan finds out all about you.
I hate you. I hate everything about you. Just being in the same room with you makes me sick.
Sure, every man in the world has that effect on you, except one. And that one man doesn't think of you as a woman even for a minute. So, of course, that's the one man you want the most.
You are as wrong about that as you are about everything else.
No. I know better. And he's the one man that you aren't ever going to get, Diane.
We'll see about that.
No. I can guarantee it. For one thing, Alan's in love with his wife. And for another thing, he was unfaithful to her once. Yeah, almost destroyed his marriage. So I don't think he's going to stray. Oh, you're one of the few people who was close to Alan who never really heard about that other woman in his life, aren't you? And I think that is just so funny because you go to such superhuman lengths to find out every move he makes.
You're making it up. There was no one else.
Well, I can see it's killing you. It is just killing you to think that he would turn to another woman and have it not be you. But he did. And now, I'm going to rub a little salt in those wounds, and I'm going to tell you who it was, because I know that that is just going to cut you to pieces. The woman was Rita Bauer. Oh, boy, I drew blood there, didn't I? Huh? Yeah, I feel like now that I have gotten even with you in a way that I never dreamed possible. And I can see that it is just cutting you up, Diane, and I think that that is absolutely beautiful. just going to leave this right there. Because now that you know about Rita Bauer, you just might shoot yourself. Oh, yeah. It all happened in Jamaica. And from what I understand, it was really hot.
Get out of here before I kill you!
Sure. Sure. Enjoy.
Wait a minute. Joe's fingerprints are on this gun. If I ever need any evidence against him with the police, I can...
There you are. Paid in full.
Thank you. And here's the registration.
Very good. I'll put Carrie's name on it, take care of the rest of it at Motor Vehicles. I'd like to get it all done before I pick her up at the airport.
Have you gone by the office today?
No, I haven't. Matter of fact, I called Lori to find out that you were here.
Ross, I'd really like to sign the codicil to my will today. I hope you make a point of getting it from your secretary.
Yes, I'll check into it. Where can I reach you later on?
Well, I want to see Diane at her apartment about something important. Then I'm going to go to the club and change for the banquet. Then I'll come back here to pick up Hope.
Well, perhaps then we can sign the will tomorrow.
I'd really like to sign it today. You know, Ross, I'm beginning to think that you don't want me to sign it, even though as Amanda's legal and financial advisor, you have to know how much it would increase her power in the company one day.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not as enthusiastic about those kind of things since I've met Carrie.
Yeah, I know the feeling all too well, but we still have to find ways to discharge our responsibilities.
Yes, I guess there is no avoiding them. Listen, Alan, I'll get out of your way.
Ross, before you go, I'd like to ask you something.
Yes.
And I'd like you to keep it within the confines of this room. I know you've been working very closely with Diane for months now, and I'd like your opinion on whether or not you think she's trustworthy as far as business ethics go. You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I wouldn't trust Diane or her ethics around the nearest corner.
Why?
I think I've said enough. Bye, Alan. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello there. There's my son and heir. I'm happy to see that you're up from your nap already. Yes, you come and see me. Come and see me. Wonderful. Well, I'm not really looking forward to this meeting with Diane. She doesn't seem to be home yet, so I'd like to spend a little while longer with my wife and son.